Welcome back to Returning to Basics. Today we have a lot to do at the house here. We've got to replace a camera that's gone bad. I've got to work on one of the outboard motor and boat trailers. Replace some charge controllers in the greenhouse. Teresa's going to be working in the garden. We've got to weed it. Everybody just loves weeding. So, you know, we've got a bunch of work to do around. What else do you have to do?
We need to buy some parts for pumps.
We do. We've got to change an inlet hose, a supply hose in the greenhouse that comes from the rainwater tanks because the pump's sucking it in too. So we've got to shorten that hose and put some solid PVC pipe in there.
It gets so hot in there that it does something to the rubber and it collapses, becomes more pliable and collapses.
Yeah. So.
And then there's one at the cabin.
Yes.
It split. The
pressure regulator hose on the water pump there, the 110 water pump, went bad, so we've got to replace that. About 1.5 feet of hose there.
Critical piece of hose.
Yes, it is, or you can't have water. So, got a lot to do today, and hope you enjoy being with us. Sweet potatoes are really doing well, and our peppers, and there's some Egyptian spinach in there somewhere, and I think it's that. I'm not real sure. It may be bolting, but thank God she's put out some squash. I love it. And actually, I think that's Egyptian spinach right there in the corner. I don't know what this other is. Maybe it's lettuce and it's bolted. Anyway, my grapevines are really looking good. They are coming along. I'm just beginning to have a few. That are turning purple. So, let's see about getting in the greenhouse here. Okay, I got back in, I got me a drill. I'm going to have to remove these three, put another piece of wood up here so that I can mount 4. Go. Now, you run these two together, run them to a controller. Here, run these two to this controller here. And I won't discard this old controller. I'll use it out by my boats and my four-wheeler. And I'll run those 4 panels out there, 60 watts, to keep those, my outboard motor, trolling motor batteries running. I'll use this. Alright, I don't know if you can see it or not, because it's telling me we have 13.5 volts. In the battery system. Now this one. 9.3 amps coming in. 2.3 amps. None here yet because I don't have it hooked up. so far over here, and in the shade, we only have 0.5 amps coming in, which is exactly why I wanted to have them on separate charge controllers. Because you see, 0.5 amps coming in here, 2.4 on these, and 9.6. If I had them all hooked up to the same charge controller, because these over here were in the shade, we'd only have 0.5 amps coming in on the whole array. And that's why I have them separated on different charge controllers, so that we can actually literally get the best benefit from the sun, because these over on the further side that are already in the sun are fully producing, where the ones in the middle are only 2.5, and these are only at 0.5. See the importance of having multiple charge controllers? Tie these wires off like this. Tie them to this thumb screw wing nut. They'll be over here out of the way, neat and tight. It's gotten hot, so I put on a bandana. This will be my negative terminal to the batteries. This is good. I mean, really good. It's important that you get good contact and it's good and solid. Heat shrink. Let it cool. And I have a weatherproof fitting. There's Teresa.
Running off a snake.
Running off a snake. Well, good snake, I would imagine.
Yeah, and racer.
Racer?
Yeah. About 2.5 feet long. Long, skinny.
There's our negative connected. Ugh. As good as I can do. Let's get a nice neat end there. It's weatherproof. And it shows we have voltage. 14.4, just like that one says 14.4. When you got my pigtail, plus I got some red and black Sharpie markers to mark on these things, these white wires, that they're red, they're positive. This one right here. Red for positive. This one right here, red for positive. This one black for negative. Now we're in code. Reading code. Volts coming in, so not enough. They're still out of the sun and in the shade. So 0 amps coming in here, 0 coming in here, 3.8 here, 10.1 here, which is exactly, again, why you want to have all of these on different charge controllers. So I've zoned my different panels out there in the array and separated them by that end and moving this way, because the sun comes over the house and over the trees and hits that end first. Then by midday, all of them are in the sun, and then it continues to go that way. And so as those cut off, these cut on, and we're not pulling down. See, if we had them all on one charge controller, we'd be getting nothing now instead of 10.4 amps on these four on the end here. So see how smart it is to have everything on separate charge controllers. These charge controllers cost around $25 a piece. So they're well worth the investment. And you can run them, instead of me, I've run them all to a common terminal on the batteries. You could run them to a combiner box and then run one lead over to the batteries. Either way. And I intend to do that. I intend to hook a combiner box up here or right here and then run them all over there to kind of make it a little neater. But my point is, we're getting 14.5 amps in charging from these. None right now of these, because they're in the shade. So that project's done. We move on to the next project. You ready?
Oh, so you got a whole nother one. You don't reuse this one?
No, you can. I'm sure.
It'd be cheaper to buy line on the roll and wind them.
We have. Back through there. Grab it together. I'll push it through. Okay. Keep that tight. Alright. Then you snap this back on, if I'm not mistaken.
That's easier than the old weed eater.
That's it.
That's easier than the old one.
That's it. And you have a battery.
Yeah, I took it off while we were
That was a good idea.
trying to get the wire out of it.
2.5 amp hour battery, and you just do that. And actually, it's not a bump head. The string feeds out whenever you release the trigger. So you want more to come out.
Yes.
You hit the trigger and you release, and it comes out. It cuts off right there, and you have about 4 inches of cutting. It's not bad for a little $79 trimmer.
We actually did very well. We were looking at this one, lightweight for me and battery operated, and then we walked down the aisle and there was a box with the same one in it, and a blower, and a better battery than what we had.
Battery is a 2.6 amp hour actually, and this battery and a charger is worth $100, and we paid $100 for this trimmer, the battery, the charger, and we got a little blower. It's not a great blower, but it's better than no blower. And so
and I'm not dragging a cord around.
yes, so we're super happy, and it's the Ryobi system, and it uses this 18-volt lithium battery, and it's called the One Plus system. And this One Plus system, all the batteries fit every device that they have, every tool, and there's about 100 of those tools that they have available, from trimmers to the thing that I'm looking forward to is a skill saw, a circular saw, a wireless one that we can take out in the woods and use on different projects. So we don't have to take a generator or drag a cord along. There you go. So now she gets to go enjoy herself in the garden.
I saw a YouTube Art and Breed, and he puts his headphones on and he goes out in the pasture and he does his weed eating, and he says he's in the zone. That's his time. I'm going to see if it's that way for me. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see.
I'm going to get my hat because it's super sunny out there. And if you don't remember, I had skin cancer here and right up here. I had this removed about 2 years ago or so, and I just had this removed recently. And so, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I have SPF 100 sunblock on to try and keep myself out of that sun. I've got to pull this boat motor and trailer around front and work on the bearings. The bearings aren't used much, but that was my dad's boat, and he didn't have a trailer. He had a 15 horse 1955 Evinrude motor, and you know, those used pins in the foot. They didn't have the rubber bushing down there that we call them slip clutches, but they're rubber bushings in the prop, and so anytime you'd hit anything it would shear a pin. And I got him that 9.9 right there, and he left it to my brother. Dad died in '05, and so there's that boat motor and trailer. Mine's on the other side, and the trailers are practically identical. They're a tube trailer, but it has new bearings in it. They've been used very little. Have bearing buddies on it, but I put those bearings in there in 1988, and it's been sitting in the yard, either my dad's yard or my brother's yard, and now mine, for years since we've used it. And my brother said they're okay. I don't think so. They need to be looked at least, even though they might be 1988 bearings. I'll take them out, take them apart, clean them, and inspect them, and if they are good, then I'll grease them and put them back in. Otherwise I'll replace them, because we don't want to take off on a road trip and toward one of the area lakes and have a bearing failure. So that's one of my projects today, and I'll pull it around front there with my ATV that's covered up. I have a 2-inch ball hitch so that I can pull our trailer here and this trailer and any of these around front. And Teresa has let her garden go because I've been in COVID isolation and she's been working and doing things, and honestly the beans didn't do very well.
Well, there's mole holes all in this garden.
The tomatoes and the okra are the only things that have come up. The moles decimated our potatoes over by the fence.
Well, they dug all around, and then mice came in behind them and ate. So, you know, it's bad enough to have your stuff uprooted by moles, but then to have mice come in behind it and then eat what you planted. So I got very discouraged. So I'm more encouraged now. Fall's coming, fall crop.
We're ready to plant some fall crops. As you can see, my muscadines, this is the only vine that's beginning to put any kind of color on right here at all. And they're far from being ready. People pick them before they're ready. Uh-oh, look at there. See, as much as I do, the birds come out here and peck some of them. See, that's not ready. They're not ready until they are black and they turn from shiny to dull. Then they're ready. Then they're at their full sweetness. And so we've got a long way to go on the muscadines. Most of them are green, like those right in there. I don't know if you can see those. There's a good bunch of green ones right there. Most of them are green, and these are cowarts. Those are cowarts right there, and that's my oldest vine. So they're looking great, but we're going to have to get ready for the predators, the birds, the raccoons, and the possums, because they'll be in here. And I'll put out about 30 or 40 rubber snakes. You can see the cowards in there. I think you can anyway. Quite a few. See that bunch? This old one will put on hundreds and hundreds. And so we'll have a freezer full, stand-up freezer full. But there's my compost bins, and we still have that one pile of compost to get transferred into it. But that's what's happening on the Vickers Hacienda today, right now.
Neal, I was wanting to ask you about, since crabgrass is so prolific out here, even though I put down cardboard and straw on top of that,
Yes.
a couple of weeks before we really start doing any kind of fall planting, what do you think about laying a tarp over this to smother it?
I think it would be fine. I think after you knock it down with the weed eater today.
I don't know what this is, other than it's a pesky weed. They start out teeny and cute. Looks a little bit like Egyptian spinach, but it's not. It's prolific, and it gets that tall really fast. Like 3 days. If it's got water, 3 days. You ever see it little, pull it up fast. Using these staples to anchor tarps to smother the grass. These are just landscape pins. I learned about them from Kevin and Sarah at Living Traditions YouTube. Yeah. Homestead. They talked about how they had used them for several seasons, and they're right. They're wonderful. You can use them for a lot of different things. And the older they get and the rustier they get, the better they stick in the ground and hold. So they're not that expensive. They come in real handy.
Okay.
Well, we run our errands and then we'll come back, and most of this will be in shade, and we will get our sprinkler set up, and this will be ready to just sprinkle the tomatoes and the okra and let the rest of it die back until it's time to do our fall planting.
All right. Why don't you close this video for us?
Thanks so much for going along with us. We are learning as we go. If you like our little projects, then click the like button. Subscribe, that would really help us. And there's a bell if you want to subscribe to that so that you're notified when we do something new. Things will start getting busier now that he's out of quarantine. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
Have a great day. God bless you, everybody.